Your overconfidence is your weakness.
Your faith in your friends is yours.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Midichlorian Experience. Today we will be discussing the philosophy of the Sith Lords and how they fit into the Star Wars mythos. Rooted in passion, ambition, and individualism, Sith philosophy stands in stark contrast to the teachings of the Jedi Order. While the Jedi seek harmony and selflessness, the Sith embrace their passions and desires, viewing them as sources of strength, and that there should not be any limits to the paths of power.
If one is to understand the great mystery, one must study all its aspects, not just the dogmatic, narrow view of the Jedi. You must embrace a larger view of the Force.
Ultimately, the path of the Sith is one of darkness and peril, promising power at the cost of one's soul. From the Sith perspective, the Jedi, and morality structures in general, are obstacles to be overcome in the pursuit of power and personal freedom, while the Jedi seek to eliminate the Sith and the dark side for tipping the Force out of balance. The Sith follow a doctrine of the exaltation of self and a rejection on restraints. Where the Jedi seek to control the self and follow the will of the Force, the Sith try to control the Force and follow the will of the self. The Sith are Force sensitives who twist the Force to fit their will, which feeds the corruption of the Force known as the dark side. The dark side tips the Force out of harmony towards negative emotion and destruction, distorting the natural harmony of the Force, which leads to instability and imbalance. The ones who embrace the dark side are motivated and even consumed by their own desires for power and control.
The problem that Anakin has in this whole thing is he has a hard time letting go of things as he sought more and more power to try to change people's fate so that they're the way he wants them. That greed goes from trying to save the one you love to realizing you can control the universe.
This corruption can affect things on a large scale, leading to conflict and suffering. War, oppression, and violence are common manifestations of the imbalance created by the dark side. Sith Lords and other dark side users seek to impose their will and control over others, extending to the galaxy itself, regardless of the cost in lives or resources. This contributes to the loss of their own compassion and morality, replacing them with selfishness, anger, and cruelty. These traits further tip the Force out of balance, degrading the harmony of the galaxy.
The prophecy is that Anakin will bring balance to the Force and destroy the Sith. He becomes Darth Vader. Darth Vader does become the hero. Darth Vader does destroy the Sith, meaning himself and the Emperor. He does it because he is redeemed by his son. The core of the Force. I mean, you got the dark side, the light side. One is selfless, one is selfish. And you want to keep them in balance. What happens when you go to the dark side is it goes out of balance, and then you get really selfish and you forget about everybody, and you ultimately lead yourself, because when you get selfish, you get stuff, or you want stuff. And when you want stuff and you get stuff, then you are afraid somebody's going to take it away from you, whether it's a person or a thing or a particular pleasure experience. Once you become afraid that somebody's going to take it away from you, or you're going to lose it, then you start to become angry, and that anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering, mostly on the part of the person who's selfish, because you spend all your time being afraid of losing everything you've got, instead of actually living. Where joy, by giving to other people, you can't think about yourself, and therefore there's no pain. But the pleasure factor of greed and of selfishness is a short-lived experience. Therefore, you're constantly trying to replenish it. But of course, the more you replenish it, the harder it is to, so you have to keep upping the ante. You're actually afraid of the pain of not having the joy. So that is ultimately the core of the whole dark side, light side of the Force.
I've likened this balance and harmony of the Force to an apple. The Force is the apple, and in its natural state it is a healthy and whole apple. But the dark side is like the rotten part of the apple. The apple can exist without the rot, but the rot can't exist without the apple, namely due to the fact that there would be nothing to rot or corrupt in the first place. For the rot to exist, there must first be something that becomes rotten. Similar in concept to other writers like C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, who did not view evil as something that existed of its own sake, but was rather a corruption or destruction of goodness. The Sith philosophy itself is rooted in individualism and a quest for greater power with the intention of complete control.
And together you and I can rule the galaxy. Make things the way we want them to be.
This desire for control is often motivated by a fear of loss, as seen with Anakin Skywalker. The Council imprints the lesson early with Anakin that fear is a very quick path to the dark side.
Fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
The fear of losing something leads to anger over the impending loss or even your own impotence at being unable to stop it. Anger then grows even stronger until it is hatred, and hatred leads to suffering inflicted on both the self and on others. The lifeblood of the Sith culture stands in contrast to the Jedi Order, who preach self-mastery, selflessness, restraint, and harmony. The pursuit of power comes from different places for the Jedi and Sith. While the Jedi use the Force as a way to defend themselves and others altruistically, the Sith pursue power as a means of control, and seize on their negative emotions and baser desires as sources of power. But the Sith are mistaken in that the dark side does not offer greater power, it merely offers power up front.
Is the dark side stronger?
No. But busier, more seductive.
I have compared it in a previous video about how the dark side brings out your raw potential without the training needed to unlock it. But this is a double-edged sword, because while it can make you stronger in raw power, it does not make you more effective.
Hayden in this film has moved up to a level 9. He's gone past Obi. Now, the difference between a level 8 and a level 9 really is the dark side. You have to go through each level in order to attain the next level. And if you do it too quick, you're going to get in trouble. So that's how I work on his downfall is going to be aggression.
Was there ever a level 10?
Well, it's funny you should say it, because when George first said it to me, he only got to 9, and that's exactly, I thought, I wonder, if for him, the chosen one, the real, when you get it really right, what Anakin should have been was the 10.
Yeah, well, apparently in lore, Vader only got to 80% of the Emperor, where he was supposed to be 200%. That's why he never tried to challenge him, because it was just game over at the end.
Yeah, you've got to learn that stuff, You've got to go through those stages, and if you don't, then it's like, I used to say, it's like a junkie, that's taken a drug and reached enlightenment via the drug, rather than standing on his head for 10 years and, getting enlightenment.
A person who gets to level 9 automatically is not as powerful as someone who got to level 9 by training hard for many years. Like how a trust fund kid is not as financially wise as someone who earned comparable money through smart business practice. Despite the power offered up front by the dark side, Sith do train, and the lethality of their training is similar to the Jedi arts to such a degree that when one is spotted for the first time in 1,000 years, the identity is unmistakable.
He was trained in the Jedi arts. My only conclusion can be that it was a Sith Lord.
The statement about peace being a lie is indicative of the Sith's acceptance that their actions, no matter how cruel, should be regarded with apathy, because there is no such thing as peace to begin with. The only reality for them is the will to power. And tapping into their passions, they can gain more power from the dark side, which makes them strong.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus. Makes you stronger.
From the Sith perspective, the Jedi embody stagnation, weakness, and hypocrisy. The Sith view the Jedi Order as an institution that stifles ambition and possession in the pursuit of an idealized notion of peace and justice. They would argue that by denying their emotions and passions, the Jedi diminish their capacity for growth and power.
In time, you will learn to trust your feelings. Then you will be invincible.
Additionally, Sith view the Jedi as hypocritical for their role in maintaining the status quo within the galaxy. While Jedi often position themselves as keepers of justice and defenders of the weak, Sith argue that their actions often serve to preserve the existing power structures and to maintain their own position of power within that structure.
All who gain power are afraid to lose it, even the Jedi.
The pursuit of power is a gateway to victory, and the actions taken to reach that victory are also always justifiable, because, after all, peace is a lie. The moral transgressions that a Sith commits can be disregarded because, in their worldview, the peace and morality are lies to begin with. The chains that are broken by this victory are the chains that shackle them to the world. They will be free to live as they please without remorse or shame or guilt. Power is the morality of the Sith and is thus the arbiter of truth. By becoming all-powerful, they fashion themselves as masters of the universe. To achieve this end, the Sith are willing to use any means necessary, including deception, manipulation, and violence.
Join the dark side, Dooku has. Lies, deceit, creating mistrust are his ways now.
Machiavellianism endorses the same attitude toward achieving one's goals. Sith Lords will likewise engage in both amoral and immoral activity to attain what they desire. The Machiavellian approach to politics is exemplified by Darth Sidious, who orchestrated the rise of the Galactic Empire through political cunning and deceit. On the topic of power comes the Sith's issue with succession. As a way of ensuring that only the strongest Sith would ever live, there are only ever two of them.
Always two there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
The master teaches everything to the apprentice, and when the apprentice is strong enough, they will kill the master and become the new master. Repeating this cycle would, in theory, create a stronger and stronger Sith master with each cycle. Masters may even get rid of a weaker apprentice in favor of a stronger one.
Soon I will have a new apprentice, one far younger and more powerful.
Fulfill your destiny and take your father's place at my side.
This is similar in scope to social Darwinism. Sith philosophy and Darwinism embrace competition, struggle, and the pursuit of power as fundamental aspects of existence. Like Darwinists, Sith see conflict as a means of testing and strengthening themselves, believing that only the strongest deserve to prevail. The Sith even have aspects of Nietzsche, like the Nietzschean Übermensch. The Sith struggle and vie for power so that they may rise above everyone else and reign supreme. Sith seek to transcend conventional morality and assert their dominance over others, viewing power as the ultimate expression of individual freedom and self-realization. This relentless pursuit of self-actualization often leads Sith apprentices to challenge their masters, seeking to surpass them and claim their rightful place as the apex predator in the Sith hierarchy. I've brought up the writings of Martin Heidegger's concept of enframing as well when talking about the dark side and the Empire. People, animals, and nature lose their inherent value and become things to be manipulated. This echoes Heidegger's notion of enframing, where everything is reduced to a resource to be used at will, even people. Furthermore, the Sith's emphasis on control and domination aligns with Heidegger's critique of technology's tendency to dominate nature and human existence. Seeing the world this way affects how you see other people and things, and that comes to define your habits and your character.
If once you start down the dark path, forever will it dominate your destiny, consume you at will, as it did Obi-Wan's apprentice.
You get good at what you practice, and what you practice becomes lifestyle, which becomes who you are. Following this way of life eventually becomes the only way you can live.
Suit your feelings, Father. You can't do this. I feel the conflict within you. Let go of your hate.
It is too late for me, son.
The dark side also has an addictive quality to it, like a drug that makes it harder to abandon.
You don't know the power of the dark side. I must obey my master.
While the Jedi seek to reach a form of enlightenment and to synchronize with the Force, the Sith are fixated on the material world, Grasping for more and more power and control means that they cannot let go. This inability to let go means that they can never achieve the ability to retain consciousness after death, unlike their Jedi counterparts, despite immortality being their greatest desire. Immortality is a power they covet, yet it is one that is constantly out of their reach. Immortality removes the limitations on knowledge that comes from mortality, as it gives you unlimited time to learn everything about the Force, to retain consciousness after death, to become one with the Force, and to achieve a full understanding of the Force is a power the Sith cannot ever imagine to achieve.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
And the thing is that for the Sith, there is no transcendent quality to their existence that they can conceive of. There's nothing beyond what they have right now.
So everything is at stake if they die.
Everything is at stake here.
Because it's all over.
Yeah, it's done. They can't. If you die, you can't. You can't get any more stuff. You can't.
You can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you. That's basically it.
This is because the Sith do not harmonize with the Force, they seek to control it. Along with their constant grasping to obtain more things and more power, they cannot learn to relinquish control, even to the Force itself, which means they cannot let go and become one with the Force while retaining consciousness as some Jedi can. While the Jedi adhere to a strict code of ethics, the Sith recognize that power is the ultimate arbiter of truth. Yet, for all its temptation, Sith philosophy carries with it inherent risks and contradictions. The unrestrained pursuit of power can lead to a descent into madness and self-destruction, as evidenced by the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker, who makes a deal with the devil for power and burns in hell for it. Moreover, the individualistic nature of Sith ideology can sow discord and infighting among its adherents, as each seeks to assert their dominance over the others. This very issue was the reason behind the rule of two to begin with, as a way of balancing the infighting that comes inherent with the use of the dark side, as all its users descend to greed, anger, and madness. Another contradiction is the Sith concept of freedom. Following the path of the dark side may originate from a desire to be free, but as time passes and the dark side becomes more prominent within you, it makes you its slave, making it very difficult to ever live any other way, as you become a slave to your passions and desires. Rooted in passion, ambition, and individualism, Sith philosophy stands as a stark contrast to the teachings of the Jedi Order. While the Jedi seek harmony and selflessness, the Sith embrace their passions and desires, viewing them as sources of strength.
Good. Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the heat flow through you. Your heat has made you powerful.
Ultimately, the path of the Sith is one of darkness and peril, promising power at the cost of one's soul. From the Sith perspective, the Jedi are obstacles to be overcome in the pursuit of power and personal freedom, while the Jedi seek to eliminate the Sith and the dark side due to their existence tipping the Force out of balance.
The only way to overcome the dark side is through discipline. The dark side is pleasure, biological, and temporary, and easy to achieve. The light side is joy, everlasting, and difficult to achieve. The great challenge must overcome laziness, give up quick pleasures, and overcome fear, which leads to hate. Amen. Now let us pray.
If you like what I had to say, click the like button down below, subscribe for more of my content, which will be coming soon, and if you want to receive a notification when that will be, hit the bell icon down below so you don't miss the next one. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you all next time. May the Force be with you.